The old saying, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life, is absolute nonsense as far as I'm concerned, because you can love what you do and still have many, many, many days where you just don't want to do it. The thing I would say though is if you love what you do, you're probably going to have more success, be better at it, and be more fulfilled than anyone else. So it's a good idea, and given that we've just gone into the new year, we thought we'd talk about the one thing that you hear so many people talk about, and there's differing opinions, and that is turning your passion into a business. So of course there are instances where following your passion might not be the best idea. For example, Mr. Beast on a Joe Rogan podcast talked about the fact that if his passion was to paint bowling balls, that probably wouldn't have gotten him anywhere. But the fact that it was YouTube was really, really important. So the thing I would say is, first off, let's make sure you can monetize your passion, but that is an ironically easy feat. And the reason I say that is because if you were to paint bowling balls for a living and your goal was to make about $3,000 a month, that's probably possible, because at the end of the day, the one thing the internet has done well, because it's done a lot of bad things as well, one of the things it's done well is allowed us to reach a massive amount of people. More or less, you can reach everyone on the planet, and of course there are restrictions to that, but every single day it's getting easier and easier with things like ease to access of mobile smartphones, as well as things like Starlink and Google's Wi-Fi, giving people quicker and more affordable access to the internet. And therefore, this is the ideal time for you to start turning your passion into a business, even if it's just enough to replace your full-time wage. Because the problem I have, and the problem I see with the way everyone looks at the internet now, is basically they look at their passion, they look at what they could do online, and they say, well, it's not going to make a few million, so what's the point? But are you making a few million in your day job? Probably not if you're watching this video. So you need to start thinking around turning your passion into a business, more around how great would it be to make your income. Say, for example, you make $3,000 a month. How great would it be to replace that office job, that job that you hate, with sitting at home in your home office, or, just in your dining room with your laptop, and creating the same amount of money, but doing it around something that you would do for free anyway, your hobby, your interest. For example, look at my Formula 1 channel. Recently, that has turned into what would be considered a full-time income for most people, and definitely for me anyway. And all I do is talk about Formula 1, which is absolutely incredible. So I'm going to be doubling down on that over the new year. And what I've actually learned from that is, more so than Formula 1, what I love is creating content. I actually really enjoy the editing process, the ideation, working with a small team to build stuff. It's really, really cool. So getting back to the main point, how can you achieve this, and should you? The first thing is, by having a passion, it means you're probably obsessed with the idea. And you've heard the word expert thrown around every which way, and it's used on every single media outlet, every single book, and so on. And I think the word expert is overplayed, because more and more these days, expert doesn't actually mean you have any fancy degree or you went to such and such a college. And to be honest, nor should it. Expert realistically just means that you know more about a subject than 90% of the population. And there's probably a lot of things that you already know more about, for example, painting bowling balls, than anyone else in the world. And therefore you are an expert just because you've put so much time and energy into it. As Malcolm Gladwell said, you've put in your 10,000 hours, and that means that you can give value to others who are just getting started in their obsession, their hobby, and so on. Now, obviously, it would be a plus if that hobby can be monetized easily, but there are many ways nowadays that you can monetize a hobby. The internet has basically replaced those magazines on gardening that you saw in the shops years ago. Now you can start a podcast, a YouTube, a blog, and it doesn't matter what way you want to do it. It can be, you can create a product, because it's really easy to find a white label or manufacturing product in China these days, where you can get that product built and shipped, and maybe that's the way you lock into your passion. The other ways is you could create content. If you like being on screen, you could create a YouTube video, a ticker, a Twitter page, all those different social media things. You could just start writing and create your own blog. You could write your own book. That's really easy to do now because of Kindle. You can create your own book and Amazon will print it for you. You can open up the Anchor app and make a podcast. But I'm not going to go into how to do these things, because over the next year, we're going to have plenty of videos on this channel around how you can learn to turn your passion into a business, and specific videos like creating a website, writing a book, all those different things, all those great things that you can do. But the first thing you need to do, and this is your challenge, I think, for the next 30 days, if you really want to do this, and the key to unlocking this potential is to become a producer instead of a consumer. And what that simply means is every time you watch a YouTube video, every time you read a blog, every time you use a product, every time you read a book that's in the passion field, the niche that you're looking at, I want you to start thinking about it as a producer. How could you do something similar but put your own twist on it? That's the simple question I want you to ask, and then I want you to stay tuned to this channel over the next year, because I'm going to tell you specifically how you can turn your passion into a business, along with tons of other self-help crap. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.